tonight's calendar, a vet's life will now be shown at a later date. This is Yorkshire Television. The time is 5:40.
After Hillsborough, UEFA soccer chief says Liverpool fans behave like animals. Liverpool players and management say perimeter fences must come down. And Beirut caught in another spasm of indiscriminate violence. Hello, good evening. Liverpool fans who have been visiting Anfield have paid their respects to the victims. They are split on whether this year's FA Cup competition should now continue. The Football Association executive meets tomorrow to make its decision.
The famous Shankly gates are now a huge and colourful tribute to those who have gone. All day the crowds have filed silently by. The messages have come from other clubs, even the Reds' traditional fiercest rivals. Inside, a huge queue of quiet mourners has come to a ground that is now open house. The Kop and the goal at that end have become a massive floral memorial. Even the youngest know what has hit their club. But life has to go on, and the question on everyone's mind is what to do about the rest of the FA Cup.
I think it should be played. Just as a mark of respect for the people who died.
The takings and the gate receipts, the television fees should go to the relief fund.
And it should be abandoned altogether, you know.
Why is that?
Well, in respect for the dead and all that, you know, for my son.
The players are doubtful too.
I haven't even thought about it, but I can't contemplate one with Liverpool being in it.
And you don't think you could play Nottingham Forest again in the semi-final?
No, I don't think so.
Thanks very much.
Kenny Dalglish, the Liverpool manager, has said that the team will do what the fans want. But with clear divisions of opinion here, the FA tomorrow faces the agonising task of deciding what's for the best. Giles Smith, ITN, Anfield.
The president of the European Football Association caused outrage tonight by saying that Liverpool fans behaved like beasts at the Hillsborough disaster. Jacques Georges said on French radio, frenzied fans were prepared to charge into the stadium come what may, whatever the risk to others. His comment brought swift and strong reaction here. The FA condemned the attack as untrue and disrespectful to the dead. Sheffield MP David Duckenfield said he was appalled. Council leaders in Liverpool demanded Mr. Georges' resignation. Also today, the government said they're pressing ahead with soccer ID cards despite the tragedy. A colleague of the police officer who opened the gates at Hillsborough said tonight that he was a broken man. The Liverpool team have spent the day in Sheffield visiting the injured, and just over an hour ago, the Prince and Princess of Wales arrived there too.
A clear signal of the government's determination to press ahead with a national identity card scheme emerged from 10 Downing Street this morning before the Home Secretary's formal announcement of the public inquiry. It was this part of Mr Hurd's statement to the House of Commons that drew most opposition.
The government believes that the future of football in this country lies in a national membership scheme in designated grounds. And now it seems also in providing all-seated accommodation at major football clubs. This would involve the disappearance of terraces at those grounds.
This morning's decision to push that bill through Parliament, even whilst the inquiry is sitting, is neither rational nor sensitive to the mood of the country. And I must tell the Home Secretary that we shall oppose it with every legitimate means at our disposal.
Is the Home Secretary not aware that I have got letters from some of those who died only recently urging that the government should not introduce that scheme as they felt it would add to the problems already there?
The Home Secretary did announce a delay in the legislation for the identity card system, but he's now facing calls within his own party to abolish the system altogether. David Chater, ITN, Westminster.
Liverpool have said they want to tear down the steel fences at Anfield before they play at home again. The club's chief executive, Peter Robinson, said the barriers would be too horrendous, a reminder of Saturday's tragedy. Tottenham and Derby County say their fences are definitely coming down.
As Hillsborough begins to shift its focus from Saturday's grief to the inquiry, there are mounting criticisms of the way South Yorkshire Police handled the thousands of Liverpool fans arriving at the Lepping Lane end of the ground. Eyewitness after eyewitness says that officers ordered the gates to be open, despite the fact that the terraces were quickly filling up. One said an officer directed him onto the terrace.
He said, right, if you move along, there were about 5 police horses all together. He said, if you move along the line and move around the back of the police horses, you will then be able to get into the ground a lot easier. Just take it easy and walk in. And as he said, we walked around the back and found our way clear to walk into the turnstile area.
Did he give orders for the gate to be opened?
He was an officer. As you can imagine, there was a lot of shouting going on, but he seemed as if he'd just been told to allow the fans through.
West Midlands Police are to conduct a full inquiry into those allegations, but for football, the paramount question is that of ground safety. All but 4 First Division clubs have fencing. This at Millwall is amongst the most secure. Liverpool and Derby and Spurs are pulling theirs down, but Millwall say that with proper policing the fences are safe. Some MPs have called for English clubs to follow Aberdeen and make their grounds all-seaters. It prevents the sort of surge forward which proved so fatal at Hillsborough. Here there are no fences, yet their safety record is virtually blemish-free. But many clubs have in the past resisted such a change.
Where seating goes in onto a terraced area, a standing area, 2 things happen. First of all, you lose something like 45% of the capacity. And second, the average cost per seat is between £30 and £35.
That means that a typical 10,000 capacity terrace would cost £200,000 to convert, and the numbers it can accommodate would be halved.
Now, the day's other news. More than 40 people have been killed in the latest battles between Christian and Muslim forces in Beirut. The Spanish ambassador is among the dead, and much of the city is still burning today. It's the latest in a 6-week-long confrontation between the Christian leader General Michel Aoun in the East Beirut and Muslim militias backed by Syria who control the west of the city.
The unrelenting artillery battles of Beirut have been merciless, throwing the Lebanese capital into total chaos.